See that right there? That's a Zupapa trampoline. We got this last fall and we did the whole unboxing setup and review video, but there were a few questions that we couldn't answer at that point till we'd spent some more time with this trampoline, especially that involved getting through the winter. So we're gonna answer those questions and more in this video, so stay tuned. But real quick, what's up? I'm Jeff, welcome to my backyard. This is Fun-Sized Adventures, where I help parents like you build some backyard fun for their families while keeping it on a budget. Because who likes to spend more money than they have to? So if you saw that other video about this Zupapa trampoline, you probably remember that we set it up in my parents' yard and now we're here in my yard. The reason for that is my dad likes to use his trampoline as a hammock to lie in the sun and bask in those glorious rays during our short Maine summers. The safety enclosure net just kind of inhibited him from doing that. So we swapped trampolines so that he can work on his tan and we can have some backyard fun with this one. So the first time we set this up, we had to read through the instructions. It took longer. It took over 2 hours for me and my dad, so 2 adults, to put this together, plus with the help of several of my kids. This time, reassembling it from scratch because it was moved here, it took about an hour and 20 minutes. Now, normally, from here on out, what I'm gonna do is leave up the leg assembly, the steel bars, and leave them up all winter long, which my parents actually left those up all winter long at their house and just took them apart to bring it here. And then just take all of the fabric parts off to keep them from degrading in our Maine winters here, which not having to reassemble all the legs will save time and probably get it down to the point where the reassembly process will be under an hour for 2 adults every spring, and it takes less time to take apart in the winter time. Now, if you live in a place where you have some snow but not that much snow and you don't want to have to take it all apart because you want to leave it up for the kids to enjoy it, here it's just so cold, so snowy usually that the kids aren't going to be able to enjoy it through the middle of winter. But if you live like where I grew up in New Jersey, then you get a few snowstorms, but for the most part, you could use your trampoline all year long. Now what you can do is there's several hooks around here that hold the net. What you could do is undo several of these hooks around and you can actually pull this net up so that if you do get a snowstorm, you could throw the snow this way, because trying to throw the snow over the top of the net is a pain in the butt. But you want to get that snow off so that it doesn't stretch everything out and wear things down fast. So that gives you an option if you live somewhere where it snows a little bit, but not a lot. Here in the Great White North where we live, we're gonna take it apart more than that. Let me show you real quick what we did this past year and another thing that we might do in the future that might save us a little bit more time. So what I'm gonna do this winter is undo all those straps all the way around like I just showed you. Then I'm going to disconnect all of these to take off the outer poles. And then these outer poles are actually 2 sections, a lower section and an upper section. And there's actually 2 foam kind of pool noodle looking things inside of there. And I'm going to separate those 2 so that the upper pipe and the upper noodle stay inside of that tarp sleeve, because it's really difficult to get them in and out of there. So once they're in there, we can leave them in there. We can just take the bottom half off. And then we're left with pipes that are about 4 feet long, wrapped up in the entire net that we'll have to store. And then we'll have the bottom section of pipes and those tubes, which we'll have to store as well. So this is going to take a little bit more space to store that stuff than with other trampolines, because my old trampoline, which was a Skywalker trampoline, it was easier to get the net off without taking the upright poles off. So I was able to just leave those upright poles and get the net off. But yeah, and then once those poles are off, you can go around and you can take the bouncing surface off. And that usually takes about 20 minutes or so to get off, and then about another 20 minutes to put back up in the spring. So that's what I'm going to do to get this stripped down to just the frame. But another idea I have that I think will work is not undo the uprights from the leg assembly and just slide the top halves off, like I said, after doing all these straps. And that should let me slide, with the help of another adult, slide the entire top half off and just have to take that off, which will save me probably 15 minutes or so of the assembly process, because doing all the bolts on all these things that hold the uprights onto the leg assembly was one of the more time-consuming parts. So if I can avoid doing that, it's going to save a lot of time in the future. Because my old trampoline, I could disassemble and then reassemble it in the spring in a little over half an hour. So I'd like to get back to the point where it's about the same time frame. And I think if that idea works, that is totally doable. As we all as parents know, that time's precious. We got to try to get these things done as fast as we can so we can get back to doing things with our kids, even though these kids help put it together, and it's something we do together, right, Eli? He looks like a refugee. Next, real quick, let's talk about wear and tear. Everything fabric-y, the mat, the net, all that is still in pristine, perfect condition. But like I said, that got a lot of use in the fall and then some in the spring here, but was protected all winter and put away. But the steel leg frames, they were out in the weather all winter. And as you can see, there is no signs of rust on any of them, which is good and what you'd expect here. That is where we stand durability wise. So going back to what I said in my review last fall, my two major concerns with this trampoline was, one, it was on the pricier side, and two, it seemed a little bit more difficult to take apart for the winter if you live in a harsh winter climate. Now, number one, when it comes to the price, everything's been holding up great. So if it continues to do so, I would say that this is a good investment, and it's better to buy once and spend a little bit more than to have something that breaks and have to buy again. And then number two, when it comes to taking apart for the winter, it seems to be taking a little bit longer so far, but like I said, I think that there is a way to mitigate that as much as possible and save that time so that you're not spending time putting up, taking this down, and you can move on to other things. So if you've been watching this video trying to decide whether or not you want to buy this trampoline, then be sure to check out the links below in the description. They will take you to the Zupapa website, which will give you more information, including the current pricing of this trampoline. And anything you buy off their website after clicking that link will earn this channel a small commission and help us continue to make videos like this to help parents like you. And if you haven't seen our original video about this trampoline, check it out right here. It includes a lot more information that'll help you make a decision about whether or not this is right for you. If you need anything else from me, I will be in my office. Until next time, get out there and have a fun-sized adventure of your own. I can't have a moment's peace.